If you don't have a plan for your money after you die, the government will decide where your money's going. Steve, let's talk about this for a second because we talk about in the book that if you don't have a game plan, then it's up to the courts to decide where your money goes, or worse than that, even. Well, probably not worse than that, right, Steve? But there could be undue taxes as well.
Yeah, it's a very challenging topic here, but one of the things we talk about in the book is the power of a will and estate planning, as I'll call it. And a lot of times people think that they don't qualify, they don't have big estates or anything like that, and they don't need an estate plan. But as we
Mhm.
talk about in the book, a will at a minimum is a great thing to have because a will is just going to fairly easily lay out what your wishes are for your assets, homes, cars, whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
so a simple will can start laying out what is to happen after you were to pass. But that's not the only tool that's out there. There's other tools I know that are very critical.
The term estate planning, I mean, it does have like a very wealthy connotation to it, but and I got that a lot throughout my career is that people are like, well, Mark, I don't have like enough assets to have an estate plan. So then you start looking at, okay, what do you own? So you have your home potentially, you've got a car, you got your personal assets, you got the proceeds from life insurance, and how inexpensive term life insurance is these days, or what you get through your work. A lot of people are walking around that may not have a lot of liquidity now, but you put on top of the life insurance benefits, and there's some substantial amount of monies that you're going to want to make sure it's going to the people that you want it to go to, or entities, I should say, as well.
Did you mention 401ks? Is that
True, 401ks as well.
retirement plans? That yeah, it really can add up. And I know this came up a number of times when we were writing the book, but trust, like a revocable trust, things along those lines. Again, it's not cheap to do. It's not crazy expensive, but those can be really helpful. Again, dedicating your funds to where you want them to go, right?
Yeah. Look at you're in a situation where you've got young children. And so then, first of all, a lot of parents are walking around without even appointing a guardian for their kids. And if you have appointed a guardian, make sure you let them know that you've appointed the person you appointed. So if you pick a brother or a sister or some relative to watch over your kids, make sure you have that conversation with them that they're not blindsided if something happens. And also make sure there's funding available. Who's going to take care of the kids. But we also, I think most parents would want to make sure that the money that they've accumulated actually goes to their kids. And so having that trust, again, another fancy word called a trust. But really, if you look at it, it's kind of like control from the grave. I mean, you're basically creating the rule book of how you want that money to be handled. So you create this envelope, we call it a trust. Money goes into the envelope, and it can only come out of the envelope based on the rules of the trust. So those are things that don't the trust may get set up, but it's not actually funded until an event would occur. So don't think you have to like give away your money now, which for some people that might be a beneficial thing to do. But it's actually once you have a triggering event, then the money goes into the trust and it can only be doled out per the terms of the trust.
And devil's in the detail a little bit with that one too. As we talk about in the book, there are times that these STL moments, times that you need to stop, talk, and listen to a professional. And this is definitely one of those. Whether you need a trust, maybe what's in a trust. You were talking about kids. I know this has come up. Do you want your money to go to your kids? Most people are going to say, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Okay. Do you want your money to go to your 18-year-old kid? We were
Right.
all making really good decisions when we were
Yeah.
18, right? But, how can you dictate how you want that to look like? Well, you do that through a
Mhm.
trust, right? You
Mhm.
can set it up to say when they turn 18, whoever's in charge of the assets for the trust can just give them enough to be able to go to school or for housing or food or whatever you want it to be. And then maybe when they're 25, they get a little bit of the money. When they're 30, you could set it up however you want, but that's one of the beauties of the trust is being able to control some of the little details that are in that.
Yeah. So also, it's nice. I've seen this time and time again where parents make a great decision. They go, they seek counsel, they hire an attorney to create that trust for their kids. And then when I go through the planning process and I see they name their spouse on their 401k, which is completely fine, but then they name the children as contingent beneficiaries of the 401k money. Well, that's going to go right to the kids,
Right. All of it, right?
all of it.
Yeah.
So if your intention is to have money go into the trust, You got to identify and actually name an asset that's going to fund that trust to carry out your wishes.
Yeah, that's a great point. And this is another one that it's not something that you really want to talk about, but it's something you need to look at often. So you may create a trust document years ago, and certain people are going to be have custody of your kids. Maybe you've assigned somebody that is going to be in charge of the money in terms of who's getting what, following your wishes, of course. And then maybe those things change. Maybe that person's no longer with us, or maybe there's somebody else that you would rather trust those decisions to, or help manage the account. So it's really critical. I would imagine you probably sit down with your clients once a year and kind of go over what their wishes are and who's handling what. Is that reasonable?
Exactly. Exactly. And make sure it's what they want and what they actually have laid out are germane with each other, they're the same, that their wishes are being carried out. And again, I think you nailed it on the head. The STL moments, the stop, talk, and listen. And I know we're going to have some more STL conversations soon.
Yes. Yeah. Think one last thing that's really important
Yeah.
too, that is sort of tied to this, is unclaimed property. Something we
Mm,
talk about in the book that a lot of people unfortunately don't know about is that the states have these databases of money that might have gone to a parent or a grandparent potentially. And maybe somebody moved, maybe they switched states, whatever the case may be. And the check or whatever it was, the stock, never made it to the intended recipient. And so that money, the businesses don't get to keep that. That actually goes to the states and they hold on to it. And so a real easy trick is to go out to your individual state, or maybe wherever you lived, or wherever your parents, grandparents, what have you, wherever they lived, do a quick search on it to find out if there's unclaimed property or unclaimed money that's out there. Could be a nice windfall of cash for you. You have to prove that it's, you're deserving of it and have the rights to it, but it's a nice little perk that could be out there.
Yeah, I know we both have heard feedback from people that have read the book. And there's been a couple people that have been like, you know what? I went and checked and I found some unclaimed property. So
Yeah, I
good.
know that video we posted on that was very,
Yeah,
yeah, got a lot of feedback as well.
good.
Great topics today. Thanks, Mark.